Welcome to the Anti-Architect Podcast. I am your host, Christian Giordano. As president and owner of the design firm Mancini Duffy, I am driven by a quest for learning and radically changing the industry. With this podcast, I'm hoping to improve the industry that I'm so passionate about by taking a critical look at how architects work through a variety of voices and shared experiences. Hello, Anti-Architect Podcast listeners. I am excited to have Ken Patel as my guest here on the Anti-Architect Podcast. Ken is the founder and chairman of the EV Hotel Group, EV Smart, EV Human, EVHG, and the Hospitality 360 Live show on YouTube and other platforms. The EV Hotel and brand is the world's first 100% crypto and technology-based hotel brand, a project which we at Mancini Duffy are currently working on with Ken. The EV Hotel brand is the future of hospitality and has hotels coming to Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Utah, Pennsylvania, New York, Punta Cana, Saudi Arabia, and India. It's quite a list. Hopefully we get to work on some of those. Ken has over 26 years of experience in the hotel and hospitality industry. Frequently referred to as the Elon Musk of hospitality, Ken is a true visionary with the mindset that the hospitality industry needs a major overhaul. The goal is to revolutionize the hospitality world with technology innovations that will create centric experiences for both guests and the employees. Ken graduated from the #1 hospitality school in the world in Dubai with an MBA in International Hospitality Management. Ken lived and worked in the robust hospitality world of New York City before starting the EV-based hotel in Alpharetta, Georgia, one of my new favorite cities after having visited Ken there. He was named Christian Dior Man of the Year in 2022, which is pretty awesome. Ken, thank you so much for being my guest here today on the podcast.
Oh, it's an honor to be here, Christian. Anything for you, any day of the week.
You're the best. So I'm going to tell a little story here. When I went to go visit Ken in Alpharetta, we were looking at sites for an upcoming EV hotel. And we went around with the brokers and looking at all the various sites. And Ken was dressed like I've never seen anyone dressed before. The most impeccable, stylish looking, outfits, this bright orange blazer. People were stopping, literally, taking pictures with Ken. It was awesome. And as a result, so tell me, how did you become the Christian Dior Man of the Year in 2022?
It was obviously, I was very humbled and grateful when they reached out to me and told me that, we hear everybody's calling you the Elon Musk of hospitality. We missed Elon Musk, so we'll take you second. And they want to be really influenced by the innovation, this being the largest industry in the world, hospitality. And nobody's ever done anything that would, I don't like to call it a disruption, but more of as an innovator. And they love the focus of it. And they wanted to kind of understand, was I just doing this to change the industry, or is this really a vision? And once they spoke to me, they're like, you're really a visionary. You're kind of seeing it before it happens. And they thought it was just amazing. I mean, and they were telling me that the brand itself, it takes years to create something like this. So and they compared it to Tesla. They said this is what Tesla did many years ago when nobody believed in what Tesla was able to do. And now you see tremendous amount of electric vehicles around the world. And they feel that this brand is going to be that Tesla in hospitality. So they're like, do you want to be Christian Dior Man of the Year? And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I'm 5'9.5". I'm not even 6 foot. So, it was an amazing honor. I'm still thrown back by it that they decided to pick me over all these other people. And, I guess their thing was that hospitality's never had an innovator. Everybody's just followed this line and this path that has been the same way for 100 years. And they feel this is a brand new concept, a brand new way of how do we actually run hotels? How do we provide service? And how do we actually create a better atmosphere for our employees?
Awesome. So let me ask you this, okay, we'll get into, what makes the EV hotel different and innovative. But how in your mind are hotels lacking in innovation, right? I mean, I guess, as someone who obviously frequents a lot of hotels, I kind of know what you're saying, but what in your mind, over the, your entire career, where do they lack innovation? Is it in the design side? Is it in the personnel side? Is it in the actual, like some hotels are obviously beautiful and amazing spaces. Where does it lack innovation in your mind?
It's not streamlined. When you look at whether it's design, whether it's technology, none of it is streamlined. It doesn't follow a coordinated path. So what I mean is you can go to a hotel in New York City, you go to a hotel in Miami, it's the same brand, but it's a different design. It's obviously catered to the guest, but then it's not really catered to the guest because these cities have those vice versa guests, whether they're traveling from Miami to New York or New York to Miami, right? But it's just not streamlined. And when we talk about innovation, how can you check into your airline 24 hours prior and go straight to the security gate? How do they have that right? And with hotels, we're still going to the front desk. And then when we try to use a certain aspect like digital key with Marriott, they say they have a digital key, but you still have to go to the front desk and show your ID. So it's really not thoughtful, right? It's not a proven concept where they're like, okay, we brainstormed and we found out this is how it works. This is what the guests want. I mean, a most recent report by Oracle Hospitality, one of the biggest technology vendors in hospitality, I think they surveyed 10,000 guests. 87% of those guests said they want high tech in hotels. So I think we've got it so wrong for so many years is because no one came along and said, okay, let's change it. Till me.
So I think about, as you're talking, I'm thinking about this, like when comparing it to the airline, right? I have Clear and I can look on the Clear app and it'll tell you kind of where I'm sitting. If I'm sitting in my house, it'll tell you, how long it will take me to get from my house to the airport through the Clear and then to my gate. And I can actually back it up all there. And I never have to take out my ID. So I know it's going to take me 45 minutes from start to finish, and I don't have to worry about a single thing, and I will get through Clear and I'll be at my gate. Therefore, the need of getting to the airport, 2 hours early doesn't exist. And that is all technology. It's not as though it's some crazy,
It's not. I mean, how can we have something like that for hotels, right? Saying that, what is the wait time at that front desk? If they want a front desk, give the consumer the wait time to let them know that what that wait time is. Now, if a person like you, Christian, that travels a lot, I travel a lot, if I'm on a 4 or 5 hour, 6 hour flight and I get off and you're going to make me wait 20 minutes at that desk to get my room key, I mean, it's absurd to me. It's absurd that it's happened to me tons of time. It happened to me while I was just in Punta Cana, And I'm like, I just got off a flight. I just want my key. I don't want to tour the hotel. I'll find it whenever I can, but this is all, it has to be technology driven. It's part of that automation philosophy. We have to understand, how do we automate these things to drive better guest service? Because you went to that front desk for 20 minutes, you waited. You're definitely not giving that hotel a 10 now. It's done. It's out the window. Forget it. If they're lucky, they'll get a 7, out of a 10.
Right.
So, I mean, these are things that we have to understand being part of the industry.
So one thing I'd love to ask you, being on the inside, on the hotel side, is how come if, check-in is at 4:00 and I've requested an early check-in, this happens probably 9 times out of 10, right? First of all, 4:00 is always too late, right? Especially as you say, you've just traveled, you've gone all this way. I don't feel like sitting in the lobby. I don't feel like putting my bags in a luggage room or anything like that until my room is ready. And there's always this mystery as to when my room will be ready, right? So this just happened. I was in DC, they told me, hey, I requested an early check-in. They'd say, obviously, they'll do their best to accommodate. I go there. It was 1:00 and they tell me, well, listen, the room's not ready. We will text you when it's ready. So I figured, all right, let me go. I'll sit in the lobby. I'll do some work. 10 minutes later, they texted me, my room is ready. Like, how did they not know 10 minutes before that the room? So what goes on behind the scenes with that? Or is this just kind of a stall?
I think it comes from the upper management. They're not trained well enough and they're not groomed, because the favorite saying in hotels at that front desk, subject to availability, right? They're like, oh, you have to call the day in because it depends on availability and all that. It's very easy. You put a note in the property management system that this guest wants to come in early, and excuse me, they can find a way to accommodate it, right? It hasn't been that way for many years, that we're following this line that says, okay, this is our check-in time, 3 p.m. Guests cannot check in before 3 p.m. Why not? Why not? There should be able to check in, and you should be able to accommodate them, because you're in a service-oriented industry. And we've always learned, the industry's always been like, use the word no more than to use the word yes. And that's what kind of really upsets me more than ever. And I mean, my hotel, Brian, we've done all these processes that have been broken. We've corrected them, and now they're not traditional. So the thing is, 24 hours prior, you're going to be able to say what time you're arriving, so your room is ready at that point, even if you're coming in early. Mm-hmm. So they're able to know this now 24 hours before, that Christian is coming at 1 p.m. And that is what the process is broken, because there is no way right now that they know when Christian is coming to the hotel. They don't ask you a question, when are you going to be arriving, right? But the thing is, when you go into one of these apps, they say that, what time are you arriving? They don't give you the option before the check-in time.
Right.
It's always after 3 p.m., right?
Yep.
So these are kind of the processes right now that are broken, and they obviously need to be fixed.
Yep, I agree. So let's get into the EV Hotel itself and your brand. As I said in the intro, Mancini Duffy, we've been helping and designing the one that's being built, soon to be starting construction in Phoenix, which has been awesome. It's a really cool design. We're really proud of kind of how it's turned out, and the team's been awesome. Your team's been amazing. I want to understand a little bit about the EV Hotel, what makes it different in terms of the crypto and NFTs, and maybe I ask it this way. When did this pop into your head? When did you think, I want to go out on my own and I want to create a brand that's going to compete with, the Marriotts and the Hiltons, and I don't know what else is there. I think basically every hotel is either a Marriott or Hilton in some deviation.
Or Hyatt or IHG or something of that sort, right? But I think it was in 2017. I remember the exact date, July 17, 2017. And I saw 2 articles, one on automation, one on blockchain, right? And to me, I was thinking at that time, I was a CEO in New York City, and I was thinking our unemployment rate is 5.1. It was 5.1% at that point. And the industry was having a hard time finding employees, right? Employees were complaining about having too much work and not getting paid enough. You need to pay me more, And then I was thinking about hotels. At that point, we were like 4 or 5 years in a row, ADR's up, occupancy's up, all of that, right? And then something clicked in my mind is, what if you didn't have room revenue? then what happens? What if people don't show up to your hotel? Because at that juncture, people were complaining, oh, we're not having people come in. So because now the brands, their loyalty members have to choose between 3 properties on the same street, 3 different brands. So how can one loyalty member go to 3 different hotels, right? So then they have to go on the OTA. That's the online travel agencies like Expedia, Priceline, Booking.com, all of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
That commission rate is 15 to 20%. So now you're selling a room for $100. You're giving $20 to them. So now you're upping your rate. When you're upping your rate, your service has to be impeccable. And when your service isn't impeccable, they're complaining to the brand. Now you got a guest service fee that they'll charge you anywhere from $100 to $250. So now you lost money. You know, so I was thinking that how can you go to a burger spot and get 4 different revenue streams, whether it's burger, fries, shake, soda, whatever might come out, right? In hotels, you have 1 revenue stream. That's room revenue. So I'm like, we need to write these processes up. So I went to the nearest Staples, said, give me your biggest journal book. So on the left side, I wrote all the traditional processes. On the right side, I made all the traditional, non-traditional, like no front desk, no logs, no checklists, create technology that streamlines everything. So with DV Human, it's the world's first all-in-one software, property management system, back office operations, and the contactless. And then we created our own smart devices. So those smart devices now create a less task-driven system. That means employees have to do less tasks. Like the engineer doesn't have to do PMs anymore. So you free up more time. Now the labor percentage. What's that again?
What's a PM?
Like as you know, when they have to do the maintenance, the what's it called? Jeez, why am I losing my word on it?
So like when which I mean they have to do like physical maintenance to the plant management.
Yeah. It's like a plan management. They got to do a room every quarterly. So that same room gets done 4 times a year. It takes them 2 hours for that room. So if you take a 100-room hotel, that's 800 hours.
Wow. Times
that by $20 or $30 an hour, you're paying that guy, okay, or that woman. And excuse me. So that's just one item, right? So that's that live energy management tool. So all of these processes come in for the operational piece. Then when we talk about the revenue streams, now I created 2 extra revenue streams with the crypto ballroom, created the world's first ever trade floor, like the New York Stock Exchange. That's where you can buy, sell, trade crypto. Then you got the NFT lobby. So now you can buy NFTs in the lobby where columns used to be just columns, no longer at an EV hotel. You got NFTs on them, and then the back wall has NFTs on them. So, and you know this, Christian, you've dealt with building hotels probably around the world and around the country. And the lobby has never made money. Never.
Sure.
Zero.
Yep.
And if somebody tells me the gift shop, I'm like, how much do you make a month off that gift shop? You know, a few grand. So now these lobbies, and at an EV hotel, that NFT lobby is going to make anywhere from $7 to $8 million a year.
Wow.
Annually. And now we have NFT guest rooms. So now we've positioned the guest room to have a higher price point because of an NFT. We take, excuse me, if we take, let's say, Giselle, for instance, we put a Giselle NFT in that guest room now, that NFT itself plus the one night stay could go up to anywhere up to $250,000. And now why people ask me, why would I buy that? Because now you bought that at EV Hotel, you go to OpenSea and you put it up there and you might make $400,000. So you might have made yourself $150,000 just getting that. But you can't get a Giselle NFT anywhere except at an EV Hotel because we might have a unique partnership with her where we're cutting her some sort of percentage.
I see. So you can actually, you're going to have the artist create things specifically for the EV hotel.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And we would have certain people, like whether we have athletes, we have celebrities.
Yep.
And then, obviously they're going to get a huge cut. They could get a 70-30. They could get an 80-20 where we keep 30 or we keep 20. And this is the way we're actually strategizing to get these certain celebrities and athletes and have them in there. So it could be positioned for Phoenix. It could be the Phoenix Suns, the Diamondbacks. It could be, whether it be certain celebrities that live in Phoenix that people know. So it's going to be positioned into a market aspect where which market we're going into, whether it be Miami, Phoenix, right now, Denver. So all these different markets.
So let's say, walk me through this. I go up to the hotel, or I make a room reservation at the EV hotel, and I make it obviously on my phone. I've got access, I know exactly which room I'm going to be in. I've picked it when I book the room. I know that this is definitely going to be my room. If I'm an NFT holder, right? When I walk in or when I'm in my room, does the art in the room change to display my NFTs? Is that kind of part of this, or is it just the NFTs that are assigned to that particular room?
Well, it would be if you pick a Giselle NFT room, that's how it would show up. And that means that room is only going to have the Giselle NFTs in there. Okay. And then once you check out, that NFT is yours, right? So now it's a different NFT there that'll come up. So that's how it would actually change the room type. It could be a Patrick Mahomes NFT, or somebody that could be old school. And let's say it could be Lawrence Taylor or somebody like that.
So that's pretty interesting. So I can pay you ultimately to stay in the hotel. But I could actually walk out with an NFT that, and in theory, has some sort of value, right? And if I play my cards right, I could sell it for a value that maybe even be higher than what I paid for the room. Yeah, and if your audience is not really geared into NFTs, so the best way to sell your NFT is have a tremendous white paper, right? That says, okay, what is this NFT about? Why is it so unique, right? Because it was made for EV Hotel only. So it's not going to be anywhere else. You're not going to find this NFT anywhere else. And the position of having an NFT like that with an artist like that, where she's the number one supermodel in the world, right? She was the most beautiful woman in the world. So you have to pay somebody a lot of money to even make an NFT of that sort. But we can make probably 100 Giselle NFTs. So Giselle doesn't have to do anything. And she's going to be collecting 80% of whatever that room sells for, because it includes the NFT. Got it. So what are the devices that are in the room? I know, obviously, having worked on the project, kind of what they are, but pretend I don't know kind of what they are in those rooms. What are all the EV smart devices that exist that you've invented?
Yeah, so let's go into the bathroom, okay? You got the EV smart mirror. Mirrors your exact phone onto the bathroom. You can look at your calendar, you can watch YouTube. It's like when you're shaving. And the reason I really focused on that is because I'm like, every time anybody's in the bathroom, they're kind of looking at themselves. You want to repeatedly look at yourself, and you want to be entertained, right? Everything we do, we want to be entertained in some way, right? So at the time, as now we're spending a good amount of time in these bathrooms. So as whether you're taking a shower, that's why they invented Bluetooth shower heads. That's why they invented certain Bluetooth items in the bathroom, because people do want to be entertained. So that's why I wanted to create a mirror of this sort that defogs itself. So you don't have to worry about, oh man, I got out of the shower and this mirror is all fogged up. I need to get out. I got to put my suit on and shave. Got to get to this meeting. So these are the processes that go through my mind. And I'm like, okay, what do I go through and how do I fix it of the issues that I go through and pretend I'm a guest. And that's why with the EV Smart Mirror, you can mirror your exact phone, it defogs itself. It's got a tremendous lighting output on the corners. So you don't really need a bathroom fan any longer, right? Because the bathroom fans are really for defogging. And now you don't really need that bathroom fan. Then you got the smart toilet, tankless toilet. With your phone, you could open and close that toilet seat. So Christian, when your wife tells you you didn't close that toilet seat, you could be like, yes, hon, I'll do it right now. You know? And then you got the smart shower that scans your body. So that it scans your body to know what type of water temperature your body will need. And then you got the smart water faucet. And that's non-scalding. So you never have to worry about getting scolded. It's digital. You actually click which temperature you want on it. So, I mean, these are kind of the things in the bathroom. Then you go into the room itself. You've got, with our partnership working on it, it's Amazon. We have a fully customized Alexa that you could check in, check out, do all of those things, turn on the TV. We're working with Google on YouTube TV. So no longer is there cable in the rooms. So now you can actually customize the way you're watching cable with YouTube TV in your home. You could do that with the same in your room. So everything you get is now the same way you get it at home. Your home experience is your hotel experience.
Got it. Very cool. Yeah, these devices they're pretty awesome. So, and then from the design of the room too, the room is really well appointed and really thought through. Every little part and piece has been designed, and I'll give credit to, we have an interior designer on the project as well. Why crypto? Explain to me sort of what makes it the world's first crypto hotel. What does that mean? Is it a blockchain thing? Am I paying in crypto? How does all that work?
So the first 90 days, you're going to be able to pay with any sort of payments you want. After 90 days, it's crypto only. We help you create the wallet. And excuse me. And the reasoning behind that, Christian, is it prevents fraud. Okay. Number one, that's for the guest, right? Number two, for the operator, you're not paying credit card fees anymore. So you wipe out 3%, 4% of your credit card fees on your annual revenue. Number three, and you're going to love this if you're an operator, you don't have to worry about a chargeback. There's no chargebacks. And I'll give this data point. 1% to 2% of hotel revenues are lost because of chargebacks yearly. So when you combine those two items, not the fraud prevention, when you combine those two items, you think about how much money you're actually saving. Okay. And then as crypto levels up, and this is the way that they can add into crypto and they can utilize this on the trade floor. And it just creates this whole atmosphere of to know that you're safe, right? You don't have to worry. And I know you got into pretty much a lot of this crypto and NFT most recently.
Yep.
And you know that with these wallets, you don't have to worry of somebody taking it because they're unique keys that you only have, Christian. Your wife doesn't even have it.
Yeah.
Or anybody. They don't even have access to it. So you don't have to worry about it. It's a single-use transaction in a way, right? It goes from you to the hotel, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about it. End of the day, I mean, there's nothing that goes through your mind that says, okay, what if somebody took my card? What if this happened? What if that happened? Even if you lost your phone, they couldn't access it.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So you're always going to have access to it, and you're only going to have access to it. And the biggest thing for me is prevents fraud. I mean, look, even when you talk about blockchain, when you talk about crypto, all these things are leveling up. When we talked 20 years ago, in 2000, when Google and Apple and Microsoft, all this thing were building, 20 years later, now we're talking about Web3, we're talking about crypto, we're talking about blockchain. So this is that whole change the evolution of the web. And this is what's happening. And we just, at this point, get behind it, even with the metaverse.
Yeah. Do you worry that right now, I think most people see crypto as basically an exchange, right? Or an investment. It goes up, it goes down, and they really don't know what to do with it. Does that worry you, or do you see sort of that evolving over time and people just using it like regular currency?
I mean, we had a crypto winter for a reason. It was to take out all your Ponzi schemes, right? All the people pretending to have a good crypto. And now stable coins are in. And when you look at this, it's just like any other stock. It's going to go up and down, right? But it holds value. It holds value to it. I mean, Bitcoin is still lingering at 20,000. Mm-hmm. People thought it was going to go to zero. No. Ethereum today is at 1,400 a piece. Mm-hmm. So it's still holding value to this day. And you're talking about a down point, right? When it keeps going up, you're going to have certain ones that are going to be there, whether it's Maddox, Lana, XRP, all of these ones that have value to them, right? So you really have to do your research and know. You go to a Texas car dealership right now, and they say you can buy a car in crypto, in Bitcoin, in Dogecoin, and Shiba Inu, all of these other ones, right? So people know that there's a large investment in it. You take the top 10 financial institutions, they have huge investment in crypto right now. Mm-hmm. The government is writing the crypto policy as we speak. So this is all being done. I mean, if this was not real, would we think the U.S. government would sit here and say that we're going to discredit this and let it go away? I mean, it's all happening.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, look at Miami, Miami's the crypto city of the world.
That's for sure. Let me ask you, going back to yourself personally in your early career, where did you grow up? What did your parents do?
Worked 3 jobs each, and when I was a junior in high school, and I decided in my junior year that I need to go get a job to help my parents out. So I got a job at a front desk of a hotel Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Where was that?
And that was in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that was in northern New Jersey. And, I decided that's where I grew up. And at that time, I kind of gave up my high school years, I felt like. But it created this work ethic in me that was so driven. And till this day, I have that work ethic, and I feel so strong about it, where I feel more young people should start working at a younger age to know what that dollar value is, right? What that paycheck is. And I tell this story to a lot of them because I want people to understand is I didn't get anything handed to me. I had to go from working the front desk to a front office manager, going to the best school in the world, being a GM, being a director of sales, being a regional director of operations, VP of operations, all the way to the highest level to being a CEO at age 30. And the reason and how you get there is you have to learn all of it. You don't get to the top without working at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it was probably not an easy ride, I tell you, but this brand wouldn't be this brand today if I didn't learn all those positions, if I didn't know all the processes. We've never had anybody create technology in this space of hospitality that's came from hospitality. They're all outside people that hire consultants. So, and that's why I feel very strong going back to my childhood. I mean, my mom's heavily diabetic. My dad had pancreatic cancer most recently. My dad's lost 2 of his brothers in New Jersey in 24 hours because of COVID. As I was starting my hotel brand out, my mom lost her brother the next month. This all happened September of 2020.
Wow.
And I created and I launched the brand October 2020. So, I know they're looking down on me. And, this is the way I feel the journey has succeeded. I mean, we have a great team. I mean, everybody on the team, Christian. I mean, there's a lot of influential people behind this brand.
Absolutely.
And what we've done is just simply amazing that people didn't think we'll be able to accomplish. And we've done it in a short time frame. I mean, EV Hotel was just launched last September. But behind the scenes, we were doing a lot of things.
Yeah, and you're taking it public, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how much I can talk about it, but
I saw you made that announcement on Instagram.
I mean, we're in an audit phase now, and we're going into a pubco, and it's a great feeling to know what's going to happen. We're making some great strides, and it's just it's amazing to witness what we're doing, and it's amazing for people to even. Look, I'm not no Elon Musk of hospitality, but people say that, and I'm just kind of humbled and grateful at it. And, for even that company to believe in us, and they believe in us a lot, that to say that they love the brand and this is going to be so revolutionary. And I mean, we're already a global brand. We're going to open in Punta Cana. We're the fastest hotel brand from the United States to develop outside the United States. So, and does the industry like us? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, we're not here for a liking contest. We're here to make sure what Tesla did by making the Porsches and the Mercedes and all these other vehicles, whether Ford, GM, go all electric. We want that for other hotel brands to develop better technology, create a more innovative mindset. Further scale this so the guests can get what they want, and we can get employees to actually be more streamlined and want to work. Employees don't want to work because you can't give them too many tasks. We're in a different age.
Sure. Well, what I love about you, Ken, is that you've got this vision, and you are like a train running down the tracks, right? Like you just go, which is what I really appreciate. And, at the end of the day, like I've asked you questions along the way as we've gotten to know each other. Like, do you worry about, coming out of COVID? Do you worry about, hotels not seeing a rebound? And you don't care about any of that stuff. You're so confident in your brand and what you've got going and what you're doing that you just forge ahead. And for that, it's admirable to watch. And it is very much like Elon Musk, where you're creating your own thing, and it kind of doesn't matter what happens around you. Let the chips fall as they may, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had this for many years: is never worry about what happens. Worry about what you're going to do. And if people say this is not going to work, I always tell them, I use two words. I say, keep watching. And keep watching. That's all. Any negativity, it's like from one ear out the other for me. I like to work with positive, surround myself with good people, and everything will take care of itself, right? We were going to have a pandemic. Okay. Are we in a recession? That's, to me, yes and no. But when you drive prices up like we have, of course you're going to be in a recession. I mean, house prices were like, I was like, really? Mm-hmm. In Alpharetta? Yeah, I love Alpharetta, but you know what I mean? But, things like that, we were going to have, these things are bound to happen, right? It's just the evolution of things, that the dramatic shift. Are people not going to go out and buy a $1,500 iPhone because we're in a recession? No, there's lines out the door.
It's true.
There's products that keep moving. Mm-hmm. People will go buy a $100,000 car still. So a recession to me is like, okay, this happened. All right, let's just wait 6-7 months. We'll be back to where we were.
Yep. I agree.
It's not going to last forever. So
a couple of last questions here. On the hotel construction side, because we're intimately involved with it, you made the call to also, which I thought is very innovative, is to do it modular.
Yep.
What was the reasoning behind modular construction in your mind? And, we've been, as I've told you, I've told others, I actually had a modular expert on the podcast as well. I've always wanted to do modular. I feel like we've always gotten it to a point, and at the end of the day, for whatever reason, people always switch back to traditional. But you're forging ahead with the modular. Why modular, and what do you think the advantages are for you?
Modular cuts down costs by nearly 40%. It also cuts down the timeline of construction. And I feel like it's the best way to go about it, because you look at it's very cost effective, and it's a new way of constructing, right? If you look at Citizen M hotels, they're all modular. They're doing modular as well. I know where they're getting it done as well. And, these are things that we have to look at. Construction cost, and I'm just not talking about labor, I'm talking about supplies, have been just over the top, right? And for so many years, we've done it the same exact way. But when I look at a modular construction, I feel like it's better for design. You know what I mean? Like, I could throw a balcony up there. Mm-hmm. I could make things work inside of the room. And that I'm so behind the design. Like, I've developed a lot of that room aspect. Even my input goes into the public areas and everywhere. My hands are always dialed in.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think the modular aspect is something I've loved for many, many years. That goes back even to the Nomad and the Marriott there in New York City. When they did their modular, that's the largest modular in the world for a hotel right now. I don't know if that's changed, but, when you look at what, as people, are they getting behind it now? Yes, because Marriott developed their own division there in Maryland for a modular division now. So it's getting there. It's getting there to have people focus on. Are there enough modular companies? No, there's not. I don't think we've had the steel modular here. It's been more wood modular. So I'm hoping someone comes up with the steel modular, because I will call them first.
I love it. So last question, is there anything that we haven't covered here that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, EV Hotel is the world's first smart hotel brand with experiences of crypto and NFT, right? We're the world's first hotel brand to be its own technology vendor. We don't have any outside technology vendor. So for franchisees, this is where it helps them out as an operator on cost, making more money. Now you're making tremendously more money and you're having less cost. And we don't have a design PIP. We only have an annual technology PIP. So you're saving. We're not telling you to go out and spend money every 7 years, right? Or every 5 years. We know you're going to spend money. We're empowering our franchisees. We're not handcuffing them. That's what EV Hotel is about. We don't want to handcuff our franchisees. We have a one franchise model. That means one cost once a month, and that's it. We don't care how much money you make. So these are the things that I know a lot of the franchisees are upset at the brands right now. Excuse me, because of, they feel like they're charging them too much. And I'm not going to go really into that, but to the fact is when we thought of this plan, I wanted to make sure it was the right thing for our franchisees. We wanted to make sure that they were going to make money. They weren't going to spend as much. And at the end of the day, they were going to be so happy that they might even do a better design than we gave them. So, and that's what's kind of worked out for us is they know. And for this brand, Christian, and this working with me, this is not a brand only for people that know hospitality. Athletes, celebrities, all these people can open firefighters, police officers. If they have the right amount of capital ready, and if they don't, we have the capital resources, is they can own an EV hotel. You don't have to be in hospitality and be in hotels to own a EV hotel. We've had crypto players, NFT players, exchanges want to own a EV hotel because we're also the management arm. So once a hotel is constructed, we take over and we manage the hotel for them at a very low cost, half of it to what any management company charges right now. And that's the reason we have, a bunch of athletes and celebrities involved. Whether it's the owner of Wahoo Tacos, big chain out there on the West Coast, Jeff Driscoll, quarterback Texans. And right in your backyard, you probably know it, New York Mets designated hitter, Daniel Vogelbach. So, these are the kind of people we have involved. It's never happened in this industry where you have influential people like this part of a hotel brand.
Yeah.
So the excitement, we say EV excitement, and it's alive and well.
I love it. I love it. Well, Ken, thank you so much for being my guest here today on the Anti-Architect podcast. As far as kind of seeing and reading more about Ken, obviously, if you go to the EV Hotel website, just search it, you'll find it. Ken has an amazing Instagram with like thousands and thousands of followers, where you can see how stylish he is and all the amazing talks he gives. And Ken's kind of everywhere right now in the world. So, Ken, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Christian, for having me.
Thank you.